team. Ladies and gentlemen, Adam Sherwinski.
Boy, do you have it coming for you between Kevin and I here being surrounded by us here. But we're really excited to have you on the team here.
I appreciate it, guys. I really do. I really do.
Well, okay, so you were actually over at our sister station at WMBD in Peoria over there. Tell us a little bit about your weather experience and kind of what you've been doing.
From beginning or since I've been in Peoria?
Well, okay. From the beginning. Let's go from the beginning.
So, yeah, I've actually graduated from Valparaiso University, like Jack Gerfen and meteorologist Lisa Meadows that used to be here at WCIA. Class of 2017, was an intern here in 2016, the summer of 2016. And then since then, I did couple years over there at KODE-KSN in Joplin, Missouri, so Southwest Missouri. Was there for 3.5 years, did reporting for a little bit along with my weather, and then did the morning show for a year and a half, did through half of most of COVID, 2020. And then I went to Peoria, excuse me. There's so many cities, right?
Yeah, there you go.
But went over to Peoria, our sister station, WMBD, and then from there I was able to do still a little bit of reporting, but do the weekend meteorology there with Chief Meteorologist Chris Yates and Meteorologist Molly Naslin, and now I'm here. So
now you have made it here. It's interesting. You were an intern here. Hey, who else was an intern here? Right there.
Yep.
Okay.
And also an intern was
Seth. Who is not pictured right now.
All interns with Jack Gerfen.
So there you go.
We keep mentioning these names. You've got some big shoes to fill. And we all do, following names like that, right?
Exactly.
Like a size 15, 16? Is that what we're talking about? I'm not that big.
Sure.
Yeah. So you like covering weather. You cover weather, a lot of weather over in Joplin, big tornadoes out there, but also in Peoria. Tell us about some of the weather stuff that you really enjoyed kind of doing and covering.
So it's interesting. I'm not a big snow person, but being from Northwest Indiana, so right there by Lake Michigan. Granted, not a snow person. That's not my favorite thing, but I will cover it, and when I'm not working, it's actually quite fun. But I will say this, that when it was down there in Southwest Missouri, they got over an inch of snow one time, and the whole day was just, doing live shots in the snow because they got more than a couple inches, and that was something they weren't used to.
Shut down.
But for me, it was like, oh, this is just home. This is just, I had a friend there before I went to work, and we were like, hey, do you want to go get lunch or breakfast? Let's go get breakfast. This is nothing for us. You're from Ohio, from Indiana.
Sure.
So the kind of the odd weather that they had once or twice, the ice was something I won't miss driving in, but it was interesting because that's something we don't get up north, and it was cool to kind of cover, talking about how does icing work and how does it work for driving as well. Also, severe weather was a big thing down there. Obviously, we had the Joplin tornado. I wasn't there for that, but we did have a tornado on the anniversary of the Joplin tornado in 2019. We had that storm come through, and that was a night I was there from, I did the morning show, came back at 6 o'clock in the afternoon, and stayed till 9 o'clock the next morning.
You keep doing that, you'll fit in here well.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So, what kind of got you into weather? What got you into doing the weather?
So that's a great question because a lot of people ask me like, what made you do weather? Did you just like weather when you started out? And honestly, I used to be deathly afraid of storms. One time we had a really bad tornado warning come through our town. Didn't have a tornado, but we had the warning go out, and I was just petrified of weather from there on. But then I started to kind of learn about weather. I thought if I can get ahead of the weather, know more about the weather, I can stay safe and away from it, and protect myself and everybody. And then went from okay, this is kind of interesting to that's really cool, and became a amateur meteorologist, as I like to call myself back in the day. And from there, I was talking about clouds, looking at clouds, going outside with a book, and like, okay, it's that kind of cloud. That's what that cloud is. And then from there, there was one day I was kind of worried about the weather. Was on looking at radar on National Weather Service's website there in NWS Chicago, looking through it, and I went, I could get paid to talk about this and just sit and look at it. So I thought, make a career out of it.
Yeah,
I love
great
TV.
Combination.
I love TV. I love science, and so I thought, great combination right there.
Very good.
Yeah, I think too, one thing is really neat is you've actually already had a little experience behind the camera here and in front of the camera also, because I took a little trip myself, and we had a call for backup from Peoria, and this guy
he's already been on
filled
air.
on in, and people were asking, are you going to stay?
I had somebody that was one of my grandma's neighbors was just like, hey, are you going to stay at WCIA? We wish we were staying at WCIA.
Speaking of grandma's neighbors, you've got connections right here.
Yes, my grandmother lives in Mahomet. My grandparents moved there back in, I want to say 2014 or so, 2013. They moved from Southern Illinois back up here to this area. Grandfather's from, I think, Homer is where he was born in. Got family that went to U of I. We're all U of I fans on my mom's side of the family. Got a great uncle that lives right down the street, used to be the football coach at Muhammad Seymour. So we've got connections right around the region.
Kevin, maybe you can get a babysitter out of this.
Yeah, right. There we go. Well, I think what's also amazing is you now have a weather team that you have 4 people that have local connections to the area.
Yeah, exactly.
All 4 of us been in the area and know the area, and you don't get that at a lot of TV stations. A lot of people transplants, you know, and you have a weather team now. We're all 4 of us from here. We know the town names, you know.
Yep.
We won't mispronounce town names and things like that.
Not on the weather team, no.
Because we're from the area, that's for sure.
I mean, that's the thing too. I was sitting there thinking, like, I mean, I've got so many friends and family, and I was telling, I think, Seth a little bit ago, I was like, hey, I may be from Northwest Indiana, that's where I was born, but I spent so much of my childhood in just across the entire state of Illinois, whether it be Chicago, Central Illinois, or Southern Illinois. So
very good.
The
So
nice thing is we're not going to have to fight for time off for Thanksgiving because we'll all get it because we've got to go, 15 miles, 60 miles, 45 miles, 20 miles.
All pretty close by, that's for sure. What are you most excited about covering here now being at WCIA here in Champaign?
You know, it's not only the fact that we have the very similar weather to what they have over there in Peoria. It's right down the road, obviously, an hour and a half. But not only that we get the same kind of weather, but also what's interesting is that now you've got the U of I here. We can talk about how the weather impacts sporting events. I love sports. I love U of I sports.
Cubs fan?
Cubs fan too. See? Yeah, see?
That's why I hired him.
But no, get to cover sporting those kind of sporting events along with our weather, and it's just interesting to kind of see that we have a wider space to kind of cover too. Not that we have a tiny space in Peoria, but it's even bigger here.
This is a big market.
It's a big market. It's I think size-wise, it's one of the largest in the state. So
Yeah, it's pretty big. You start on October it's somewhere in October.
I know it's
Next
October.
few days, I think, right?
Yeah. And the
Coming up next few days.
next few days
He'll
here.
be training with me on mornings. So he's going to slip into the morning spot. I'll be moving to the coveted midday position.
Yes.
So people wake up with him, and then they can.
Right. And then they'll be tag teaming on bigger events and things that happen when they're both here. And that's the nice thing about the teams. We've got multiple people overlapping shifts, and so we're always kind of here to be able to do the big coverage that we do.
And we're going to keep fighting for who's behind the wheel in the storm tracker.
There you go. That's true. That's very
Coin
true.
flips.
Yeah, coin flips. Any last things you want to let people know about?
Nope, just excited to be here in the mornings and have some fun in the morning, talking about both weather and just having fun while doing it.
Perfect. Ladies and gentlemen, a newest member of the WCA3 Weather Team,
So glad you're here.
Thank you.
Adam
so much,
Sherwinski.
guys.